So I actually set up a client for chartered systems integration. It lists client detail, customer details, and lists of all the quotes that you may well have actually put forward. So if I just select one, it'll pull back the information, just simple information on the customer itself. And then I'm introducing you to these sidebars that we've actually got. What I can actually see is there's my list of records again. What I'm interested in is looking at some information that I've prepared before. So I'm looking at this particular one. So it'll pull back the information from the system. Now what you're actually seeing on the screen, or the means of which you're actually accessing this record, is termed the framework, the solution framework. So the understanding of, I have a client has many policies, and I need to provide quotes. That part of it is the only part of the system that is, if you like, insurance specific. And needs to be built to support the products. Everything else that you see on the screen is actually authored. So what you've got in terms of the record, in terms of insured details, you have a section for insured details, you create that. Risk details, you create that. And all the fields on there, you populate. So you can make it look and feel how you want. When you create it for a different product, then you can have a different set of on-screen forms. So I've pulled back this information, and it's I've been able to populate accordingly, and also it's generated a preview on the screen for me. Perhaps I want to put in a commercial adjustment, particularly because I want to in this instance, so I can happily do that, save that away. If I go back to the details tab, the sidebar, you'll notice now we're actually on this record has got a few more features. So let's just have a quick look through some of these things. Underwriting guide, what you can do is to support the flow of your creation of this quote, or an inquiry perhaps. And at any stage, if there's any queries that you might have, or that the system can inform you because of constraints, parameters, etc. that you've built in, then it can come up within that underwriting guide. So for example, I happen to know, because I was in manufacturing, if I happen to go to banking, save that information, then my guidelines will actually change, I hope. If I save the information first, there it is. So it's actually telling me that in this instance, down at the status at the bottom, I've gone from quotable to refer. So something's happened in the process of putting this record together that means I now need to go and get this as a referral. And here's the supporting information. In this instance, there's a suggestion that perhaps I need to include an endorsement for money laundering exclusions. Okay? So we can make that change quite simply. Just pull the full details back. And I'll change that back so that I move from refer to right thing. So I can change that back from refer to quotable. So if I now go down to the next one, we've got that built-in dashboard, which you might well have just seen very briefly come up in the demonstration, in the presentation. So what this is actually trying to help inform you is a dashboard from all the quotes that are actually stored on the system. So I'm actually running a product for directors and officers, D&O, and it's actually giving us some information across the months from within the system that's telling me how much business I've actually made, what my conversion rate might be, information such as the loss ratio. We've included that here, 0%, but the information would need to be pulled back maybe from your claims handling system, so you can compare your gross written premium with the claims incurred. Equally, because I've selected a particular broker here, I'd quite like to see what sort of performance I'm getting across the broker. Maybe there's an indication that one broker is quoting an awful lot of business, but we're not actually converting it. Those are the sort of questions that you can start to answer at this level, and then dig deeper into the data as and when. Sorry, if I go and look at my next one. So from a creation point of view and a workflow perspective, workflow again is designed by you, so you can actually say at this stage I've got a quotable quote. So maybe it's a case of I'm going to decline that, there's no changes on me, it's not going to be taken up, or I actually want to refer it itself. So I can put some information in there, I can assign a reason, and I can perhaps go and pass it on to some other user and say, you know, please have a look at this, etc. And pass that information across. At this stage, What I might also want to do is say, well, okay, I've put some conditions together, maybe I actually want to set up an alternative quote so I can do some comparisons. So that's now actually copied all those details and saved it away as a comparison quote. If I pull this information up, I can now see that I've generated alternative quotes here against that particular record. So it's not every record against the customer, it's just that record, those alternative quotes against that particular initial one that I created. Okay? I wasn't necessarily going to take you through the use of drop-down boxes and entering text and labels because I'm really going to assume a certain level of interest here, but all the different types are available to create the list that you've actually got here. And again, I will stress that you have control over extending that list and amending that list. That's not something that we would produce for you. You can also make use of some of the on-screen rules and rule sets. So if I wanted to come down here and change limits, for example, I wanted that to change, I don't know, to 200 excess, for example. The moment I've actually updated that information, my premium changes. So these are the sort of things that you can do on the screen. I'm actually going to try and show you a few more examples as we progress. If you're happy with the information or you're not quite happy, you can start writing notes to someone. So please take a book or please learn to type. And that information is then stored against that record, so that if you're working on that or you're passing that information on to somebody else, then there's full auditability, not only of the changes that you've been making, but also the reasons why. And then of course you have that quote document that's built in, so that's running away, that's pulling the information back from the system and putting it into your own designed Word document. So there's the quote that you're seeing at the moment, and you can send that out straight away. One of the other aspects is that import of the spreadsheet. But I've got something set up, and I'd actually like to try and sort of take you back to a different record for that purpose, if you don't mind. So I've actually got an engineering one here, just to demonstrate the fact as well that when it populates, so you saw those top two pieces on the form before, the insured details and the risk details, but as we scroll down you start to see that the screen was actually slightly different for this product. And again, that's you changing that, not us. You've also got other tabs along here for additional information if you wish to have it. And what you have here, I just want to show you the items of kit that it's asking for here. So again, you can start to type information in if you wanted to. The red boxes are showing you that that's mandatory, that you must populate that as a minimum. And then there's ongoing information showing you how many you imported and how. Now that can be quite tedious. So rather than do that, let's just cancel that. And let's say I'm more interested in actually importing that information. So I'm going to append some information. I actually need to find that, so I'm going to look for some kit upload, and I want to find a file on my system. So I've got some files on my system in this instance. Oh, lo and behold, there's an engineering kit one. So I'm going to select that one, open that up, save that away. That's going to run through the import. And when it's happy, and hopefully it's going to tell us that it's actually imported that information successfully, I can then go back to my kit screen, and when I take a look at the information, just let that run through, I can then see that my kit information, with my team having imaginatively come up with a list of manufacturers and types of kit, you can see that I've entered that information at the click of a button rather than having to manage it individually. Okay, so that was a rushed work through the quote facility, but the aim is to try and show you that that's actually as simple as that. That from a user's perspective, you don't need to know anything else about how that data has been put together, where it's come from. All you need to know simply is that I can start typing information in the system through information guidelines, through the ability to review dashboards will give me the information I need in order to take that through to a quote and hopefully through to bound information. So if I take you back here, you then could perhaps have a look at some of the analytics to give you a bit more information about the data that you've got on your system.